At first base, from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, the legendary Walter Buck Leonard. Regarded by many as the greatest first baseman, not in Negro Leagues history, but in baseball history. He was compared to his contemporary Lou Gehrig, but believed to have even greater defensive abilities than Gehrig, and the old-timers in the Negro Leagues say the greatest fastball hitter this sport has ever seen.
If you got the money, quest is for the booking. Come on, everybody, let's get with the fly mode. Still got room on the truck, load of black.
They say sneaking a fastball past Buck Leonard was like trying to sneak sunrise past a rooster. You couldn't do it. Consistently hit over 300, smooth left-handed swing, and was a dazzling fielder. Buck Leonard made plays that other first basemen just simply could not have made. They couldn't have gotten to him, and he made it look easy over what resulted in a Hall of Fame career. Most Negro League stars jump from team to team, but not Buck Leonard. He was a fixture with the Homestead Grays, and he was part of a dynamic tandem, perhaps the greatest tandem in baseball history, when he teamed up with the legendary Josh Gibson. They were called the Thunder Twins. Leonard was the lightning, and Gibson was the thunder. Both of them reigned on a lot of parades in Negro League games. Leonard hitting line drives off the wall and over the wall, and Josh hitting tape-measured shots that some of them still haven't come down to this day. The late, great Buck O'Neil would say in a game against the Kansas City Monarchs, and Satchel was on the mound, and he had thrown 3 or 4 consecutive off-speed pitches that Leonard, who was a left-hand line drive hitter, had ripped foul down the first base line. And he says Satchel decided he was going to try to sneak a fastball past Leonard. And Buck said Leonard hit the ball so hard that it ripped the webbing out of his glove. Buck calls time. He goes over to the mound. He said, hey, man, don't you throw him another fastball today. You gonna get me killed over here. The ledger of winning for Buck Leonard was incredible. 10 league championships, 3 World Series titles, and 13 East-West All-Star Game appearances. Oh, he was special in a career that was as consistent as any player in baseball history. Buck Leonard was a true student of the game of baseball. And first base oftentimes was a position in the Negro Leagues where guys would put on a show. They gave you a little extra flair, but not Buck Leonard. Buck Leonard played the game with a mindset that was a little bit more serious than those guys who typically played first base. He always made the right play, always. And again, his range was second to none. He was a thinking man's baseball player. Well before Branch Rickey made the move to go get Jackie Robinson, Washington Senators owner Clark Griffith had tinkered with the notion of signing both Buck Leonard and Josh Gibson. But Griffith would later back off of this idea. The timing was right for Branch Rickey to make the move for Jackie Robinson. But in 1942, it was still a little early, and he already knew that the owners were certainly going to stand in solidarity and try to block this. The other side of the equation is he was also watching the Homestead Grays fill up Griffith Stadium. They were outdrawing the Washington Senators. Integration was going to put the Negro Leagues out of business. He didn't necessarily want to risk losing that revenue that he was generating from renting his ballpark to the Homestead Grays. And so after mulling over the impact and the repercussions, he backed off of the notion of signing Buck Leonard and Josh Gibson. This could have been well before Jackie Robinson. Buck Leonard's skill set for a man who was well beyond his prime was absolutely amazing. In 1948, when he was 40 years old, he led the Negro Leagues with an amazing .395 batting average, and he slugged 42 home runs to win the home run title. He turned down an opportunity to go to the major leagues because he knew that he was beyond his prime. And even at the ripe old age of 45, he was still fielding major league offers, but refused them because he knew that he was not the ball player that he was. But I can tell you this, Buck Leonard at 45 was better than a lot of players in their prime.
I can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay down too long.
In baseball history has a tremendous legacy of winning. He was part of so many great Homestead Grays teams, and he was the inspirational leader on all of those teams. He was a pillar of consistency, both on teams. Would never have anything disparaging to say about Buck Leonard. And it's only fitting that in 1972, Buck Leonard and his Thunder Twin teammate Josh Gibson would be voted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame together.